Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And I don't know. Ooh, we get ready. I had to give him the warning first, Doc. Just wanted to. I'm so excited to have this interview today with Pastor Jamail JT. Let's throw that in there. Johnson, Pastor Jamail JT Johnson. Man, great man. Has been blessed and fortunate to come from a family of amazing people of service and faith, and is doing, man, a way above and beyond to give back and serve others, and truly excited to highlight him on this journey. So first, Doc, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. I've really been looking forward to this one.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you, man, and thank you for having me here, man. I'm glad the stars aligned and we were able to make this happen.
Yes, sir. Well, let's dive into it. Off air, we talked about, our journeys and your journey, and how some of, we have some parallels in that. And we were voluntold to do stuff by educator,
Yes, sir.
by educator moms.
Yes, sir.
But, if you don't mind, share, your journey with the audience so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Yes, sir. Well, Chip, once again, man, thank you, man. And like I said, when we were chatting a little bit earlier, our paths are parallel. Uh, I think I'll start here. My my mom, who I think I always say my mom taught me how to my dad taught me how to be a man, but my mom taught me how to navigate the world as a man. Um, and I start at her because my mother and father, I'm a rainbow baby. So mom had, about literally, she had 6 miscarriages prior to me and was really, they done, maybe this ain't God's will. And I have an older brother and older sister, so they had just, focused on them. And one day in church, one of the mothers came and touched my mom on the stomach and say, baby, you pregnant. And my mom's like, no, I'm not. I'm good. And she's like, yeah, baby, you pregnant. And the seed that you're carrying, he's going to change the world. Um, my mom told me that older in life. But I started preaching when I was 9, and was really preaching, Chip, not bootlegging. I think by 12, man, I was traveling, man. I had a little briefcase, I had business cards.
Wow.
I was everybody's youth Sunday preacher. I was doing
Yep. Yep.
revivals.
Yep.
And then I appreciate my dad though, because when I got to high school, he was like, all right, man, enough with all that preaching. I want you to be focused on school, because he said that if you're gonna keep on preaching, I want you to have been able to lived what you're preaching about.
Mm.
And sure enough, I tell everybody, man, I made all of my worst decisions and failures after declaring that Jesus Christ is Lord. So I am a testimony, man, that he can and he will use whoever he desires to.
That's it. You the
But
evidence
man,
and the
as
research.
evidence and the research. Yeah, man. Scholastic and practical. But
Yeah.
man, as life has continued to take me, I started off as a youth pastor, and I was a youth pastor at 17, man. And
Mm.
God allowed me to make some interesting deposits into some amazing young people, that still follow me now on social media, and I see them in public. They're now telling their kids, this used to be my youth pastor. It dates me a little bit, because I was born in the late 1900s, but it still helps me now know that God had me in a space of training, even in that space of service. And so I never forget, Chip, I was preaching, I was doing revival for my uncle, pastors in South Dallas, man. And they really need some Jesus up there, man.
Yeah,
So
that's my dad's side of my family is from all South Dallas, sunny side.
also, you know
Yeah,
exactly
they
what I'm
all went
talking
to
about.
Lincoln. I feel you. So
Yes,
it might have been their church you was at.
yes, sir. So, man, Unc kept me over, man, did a 3 night revival, kept me over that Sunday. And my pastor at that time, Bishop Usher, calls me early that morning, man, and say, uh, Johnson, God says it's your time. I was like, man, my time for what? He's like, it's your time to pass. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. I'm your youth pastor. That's what God is talking about. He's like, no, God says it's your time to pass. I said, nah, Bishop, I don't know. And then he just like abruptly cut me off. The blood is off of my hands. I'm like, brother, why is blood on your hands in the first place? But coming from a Pentecostal experience, you already know what that thought process is. Man, so we started Deliverance Temple Ministries in my living room. And, we began to grow out. And our very first place of worship was in a funeral home. And we were having service in the chapel. And we changed our name to the Word Church. And that came on accident, but I believe that it was providential because, we were grassroots. We passing out flyers, inviting people to come to church. And the lady asked, can women wear pants at your church? I was like, yeah, why would you ask a question like that? She said, well, I'm from Memphis, and Deliverance Temple in Memphis, that's a holiness church. Women can't wear pants there. And so I was like, yeah, no, we good. Come on. And so I realized that, people are reading our book based on the title and not the contents thereof. And so we changed our name to the Word Church because that's all we had. It was the Word. We didn't have a praise team. We didn't have anything. We were playing tracks, man. And, God blessed us, man. And so fast forward to where I am today. So that's probably about 15 years worth of fast forwarding in serving the community, being the community's church, having a food pantry,
Yeah,
having clothes, really helping the community, having a back to school event. During quarantine, this platform that we own became popular. And so I was invited to be a panelist on a podcast. And I was having the title was about mental health with Black men.
mm,
And I happened to be one of the panelists, and the other panelist was the CEO of the company that I represent now, the African American Male Wellness Agency, Mr. John Gregory. And so we're both on there, and he's talking about this program that they have in Columbus, Ohio, called Real Man Real Talk, where they bring men together. It's unscripted. They have a licensed therapist that's in the audience, but
mm.
the therapist is not doing a PowerPoint presentation. It's really just men talking. And so I was inclined, man. I was like, man, we don't have nothing like that in Houston. So I got off the phone. Got off the podcast, called him. Took me a little while to get to the CEO, but once I got to him, I told him, I said, hey, man, I want to bring that to Houston. And so then he mentioned about how that's one of the programs that we offer. He say, but the biggest thing that we do is bring awareness to men about health and wellness through our flagship initiative called the African American Male Wellness 5K Walk and Run. I was like, okay, I'm not talking about no walk and run. I'm talking about this real man, real talk. And so he was like, well, no, the real man, real talk is kind of like our program, but the walk is like a hi, hello. That's what gets the community to know who we are. And then from there, we engage the men to come. So I'm kind of deterred. Like, man, I wasn't calling about no walk. And so he was like, well, man, come see it. He said, this year we're expecting 30,000 people. It's like,
Wow.
hold on. I say 30,000 people at a
Wow.
walk. And so he was like, yeah, man. So, they were celebrating their 20th year. My wife and I, we flew out. I saw it firsthand and called my best friend, Donnell Cooper, and was like, say, bro, we got to do this, man. So, man, I got back to Houston. This was late 2022, in like October. We got some people around the table. We started planning, and we had our first 5K walk at Texas Southern in April of 2023. Mayor Turner was our honorary chair. And man, we had close to 4,000 people out at our very first one,
That's
man. So,
awesome.
um, so from there, we were just planning to do a walk, but along the journey, Mr. Gregory saw that this was a great opportunity for us to really expand the organization into Houston, and we opened up an office here. So now I'm the executive director of the African American Male Wellness Agency, and I'm the lead pastor of the Word Church. So I'm the
Mm,
walking epitome of Third John 2. Above
yeah.
all, I wish that you prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers. So that's it, man. Just a servant leader, married to amazing wife, Natasha, two grown boys, Jalen and
Mm,
Adonis. But man, we're just out here doing the work, man, that I believe God has called us to do. You know, I know, Chip, you mentioned it, in the off air time that we were talking about just making sure that when we get there, that the big man is pleased. But I think that that's the thing that many of us are missing. Um, when Jesus made the statement to his disciples, man, I thank you for coming to see me, man, when I was in jail, man. Appreciate you for bringing me something to eat when I was hungry. Man, you brought me that FUBU jacket, man, when I was cold. Appreciate you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, we've been with you for the last 3 years, bro. When was you in jail? You know what I'm saying? When was you hungry? Like, dog, you literally took a Long John Silver meal and fed 5,000. Man, you ain't been hungry.
mm.
And Jesus said, nah. He was like, nah, when you do it to the least of them, you've done it unto me. And so, man, I really believe that that's what um, we're going to be judged by, man. Not the number of people we had in attendance, not what color the choir robes were, not if we scrapped the choir and went to a praise team, not if we had, smoke during praise and worship or we sung hymns. He's really going to be concerned about, all right, you all did good from the call to worship to the benediction,
Mhm.
but what did you do from the benediction to the call to worship? You got 7 days to serve, but you only got 2 hours worth of service. So whenever we're able to master that, I think that's when the master is pleased.
Hey, Doc, I almost had to look in pocket square on you on that one. Hey, hey, come on, come on. That's so good, and
Yes, sir.
so true. And I think it does lots. I think it allows us to live a fulfilled life.
Yeah,
It allows us to just give service. It allows us to be the example too.
yeah,
Um, and so like I think about as I was hearing you say, all of those things, I was thinking about people in my life that I've had that
yeah,
did that, all the way back from, elementary school principal, little league
yeah,
coach, my
yeah,
pastor, my mother. It made me think about all of those people that just gave service, you
yeah,
know. Now, they served, but even in the service, they
yeah.
served, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Those kind of things too. So that you took me back on that one. Well, what are three things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Wow. Um, I think one of the things that I'm proud of is being able to say that I've left something behind, right? So I've written 7 books. I'm trying to catch up with you, Chip. Uh,
Let's go. Let's do one together.
yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Written 7 books, man. That, they span the experiences that I've had, right? So, have written one called I Pray, the Millennials Guide to Prayer. Then
Oh,
my very first one was hashtag B, and I got that one from my mom, as I mentioned, who was a educator who taught for 40 years. And
yeah.
thinking about that being voluntold, man, remember helping her with her bulletin board. And every year she would put up the same phrase, if it's to be, it's up to me. And that gave me the thought for my very first book, that you can be whatever you put your mind to. But I used the hashtag because, again, dating myself, when I was growing up, that was called the pound sign, old school. Calling movie phone, checking to see what time the movie start. You hit pound.
Yeah.
But now it's hashtag, you know what I'm saying? And you can find several things using the hashtag, and so I did hashtag V because so many are in search of trying to find themselves. But in a world where you can be whatever you want to be, the worst thing that you can do is be a copy of somebody else. Um, and so, man, I've written a 30 day devotional called Wake Up, where you wake up every day and it's wake up and be motivated, wake up and be resilient, wake up and be open minded, and so grateful to have been able to leave those things behind. So that's one. Um, Second thing is, man, I think that I have accomplished. Um, I was asked this before, and somebody asked me what was my greatest accomplishment. It was actually doing a job interview, and my wife, she has
Mm,
her master's degree in HR management. She's like, dude, why would you like? What were you thinking about to give that answer? I was like, I don't know. So I said, man, my greatest accomplishment were my boys.
mm-hmm.
Um, I look at them, and this past Sunday I got an award, and actually had my boys there with me. Adonis is 25 and Jalen just turned 20. And I looked at them and I almost teared up, man. I'm from the north side of Houston, man. I don't cry unless onions are being cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
They was
that
cut. They was
mo
cut at that
that
place.
they was cutting, man.
Yeah, yeah.
That moment almost broke me, man, because I was able to look in the audience and see that even in my imperfection, even in those days where I had to push when I didn't even have it in me to go, I got two boys that saw what I believe uh, resilience looks like, and they saw a model that I can look back now and be proud of, because looking at them, and neither one of them have been to jail. Both of them were career driven.
Yeah.
Um, 20 and 25 in this world, they've already beat some odds that were against
Mm.
them. So that, and so being an author, being a father, and I think, if I can think about a third thing that I'm glad that I have accomplished is yet, YET, because I
Mm.
haven't accomplished it yet. I'm still on this journey. And so I'm glad that every day I'm still hungry, that I haven't gotten to a place that the trophies has made me complacent. That I'm looking at what we have done, but the dust ain't on the banner. I'm not looking up and thinking about the old days, but it's motivating me every day to go out and keep doing what we do.
So good, man. I tell people this. I'm humble, like experiencing those things. It,
Yeah,
it makes me super humble,
yeah.
but it also makes me hungry,
Hungry,
right?
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's not HUNGRs, like four O's.
yeah,
Hungry, right? Hey,
yes,
man,
sir.
like oh wait,
Yeah,
I could you show me I can do this for real? Oh man,
yes, sir.
let's go.
Let's go.
Hey man, hey, no brakes, all gas, baby.
All gas. Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yes,
just hearing
sir.
you talk about your journey, and the amazing things that that you're proud of.
Yeah.
I would consider that to be hugely successful, Doc. So
Yeah.
let's hit on success. What
Mm.
is your definition of success?
Man, my definition of success for me is having the resilience to keep doing the work. Um, because I know in the dictionary the word success comes before the word work. And so I know, many of our, you know, popular motivational speakers, they have touted that, the dictionary is the only place where the word success comes before work. You can't be successful unless you do the work. But if you do look in that same dictionary, the word resilience comes before success.
Mm,
See, you can't get to the work, the W, until you have first become resilient. Because there's going to be some days, Chip, when you don't want to get out that bed. There's going to be some days where you're questioning your value, you're questioning your self worth because you know you put all that you had in you into this one play and it didn't play out the way that you thought it was. But then resilience tells you, you better not sit there. You better not allow this moment to cause you to miss what God has destined for you. So, success for me is being resilient enough to keep showing up every single day to do the work because you never ever get there. Because if you truly understand it, man, you never get there. And as you said, I'm humble, but I'm hungry. And that hunger comes, especially when you are a servant leader, that hunger comes because you know that you're doing this for others. You're doing this because of what God has put in you. So the day that I take off, the day that I miss, the day that I allowed the weight to weigh me down, that very well could have been the day that the door was opened for me to release a floodgate that was going to change the trajectory of the life of the people that I'm here serving. So um, that's my definition of success. I know it may not necessarily be um, the norm, but for me, man, success is being resilient enough to keep showing up and doing the work. That's success. Not because that scoreboard is a lie, right? That scoreboard is a lie, man. Because um, uh, Detroit, no shade, Chip. I know you're international, so I know it's probably some Detroit people that's gonna watch this, but
mm,
Detroit has won some games this season,
mhm.
but they ain't going to the playoffs. And so if the only thing that I'm trying to do is just win this game, I'll be satisfied with having an 82 game season and only winning 16 games. But if I start the season knowing that this can't be over until I put another banner in that rafter, that scoreboard don't mean nothing. That was a good game. Yeah. But we got to get ready for tomorrow. But excuse me, man, that's the black mama coming out of me. That boy Kobe was my guy, man.
Hey, no, hey, man, I started to hit the organ. Hey,
Put me a B flat.
uh, hey, man, so true. And then you went football on me too. Oh, come on.
Yes, sir.
Man, I was right
Yes,
there
sir.
with you.
Yes, sir.
No, I love it. I love it. It's so good and
Yeah.
so true. I loved how you went into talking about the why of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like none of us are immune from growing through tough things,
Boy,
right? Come on. I don't care who you are. Like none
who
of
you
us
are.
are, yeah, none of us are immune from that. But
Yeah.
when we have the ability to tap into the why of why
Yeah.
we're doing it, the
Yeah.
mission, the vision, the passion.
Yeah.
None of that other stuff matters. But it's gonna be
No.
long hours. It don't matter. But it's
Yeah.
hot. It don't
Yeah.
matter. But it's
Yeah.
raining. It don't
It don't
matter.
matter.
Yeah, like it's a storm
Yeah.
out there. No, the mission is the mission. It
Yes,
don't
sir.
matter. And
Yeah.
so, oh man, I love it. And it's so true when you tap into that. It's
Yeah.
crazy how it seems organic, but you know you've
Yeah.
put the work in, you've been resilient, but it seems like it's just smooth and easy,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
not that way.
It's not.
But you're tapped in, and I call that this is good for you right here, Doc. I call
Yeah.
that being in alignment with your assignment.
Wow.
Come on.
Write that down.
Come on, come on. I call that being in alignment with your assignment. And when
Mm,
you're in that space, nothing deters you, nothing distracts you,
yeah.
nothing causes you away from the brings you away from the cause. It
Yeah.
don't matter,
It don't
because you're
matter,
in
man. Because
alignment.
man, when you said that, man, it made me think about uh, this guy I normally reference on Sundays.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, he grew up in a rough neighborhood. Grew up to a teenage mother.
Come on, come on.
Um,
I
his
see you.
his
Come
yeah
on,
his stepdaddy was a carpenter. They
come
didn't
on.
have too much money in the crib,
Give it to him. Come
but
on.
but when he really looked in the mirror and he realized who he was, when he got in alignment with his assignment, he upset people when he started to say, "Man, I'm the way, I'm
Hmm.
the truth, I'm the
In the
light."
light.
When he looked and said, "Man, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
Come
I
on.
know why I'm here." But even in that space, he still dealt with that pressure. He still dealt with those days when everything didn't add up. Even to the point where he looked around in his own neighborhood. He'd say, "Cuz, man, I want to heal y'all, but I can't even get no on in my own hometown." But that's that. It's all right, man. I gotta shake the dust off my feet and I gotta move on. But even though there was contention, or even though uh, it seemed apparent that there were some haters, he didn't allow that to stop him because he knew it's somebody that I'm here for, and man, that's heavy, Chip, because when you're truly in alignment with your assignment, man, you understand that some people, they're not truly your assignment,
And they're not gonna understand either.
and they're
Some
not going to
people.
understand you. Man, I gave this to one of my mentees. I told him, and he's actually a sergeant for HPD, and he was just talking about some, you know, um, frustration he was having with those that report to him. And he was just saying all the good things that he's trying to do to them and do for them. And I say, well, man, can I give you this? I say, man, the good book say you gotta be mindful about casting your pearls before swine. And I said, they never told us why. I say, but let me add a little Pastor J to it. I say, one of the reasons why you got to be mindful about casting your pearls before swine is because you don't know when you're gonna run out of jewels. And there's a possibility that you're going to encounter somebody that need to put some jewelry on, but you have given it away to swine, and swine can't even benefit from it because they can't tell the difference between a pearl and a rock. Because for them, everything is edible. And when you really understand that, you're really now asking God on a daily basis, show me who I am assigned to today,
Yeah.
so I can make sure that this day is not a wasted day of me attempting to pour into a container that's not ready yet to receive the contents thereof. That will keep a lot of people from being frustrated on the journey,
Yes, sir.
because many of us, we feel like we are assigned to people, but the only reason why we feel like we are assigned to them is because we like them a lot. And some people you have to leave because that like is not associated with your assignment.
Well, that's a coach, doc. You man, two things here. Let me go back to the swine analogy, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be simple with this one. Pigs like to wallow in the dirt.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna just
Yes,
leave
sir.
that right there. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. And then
Yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
fast forward it to you, right?
Yeah.
You know, uh, and I'm gonna use the rocket analogy. And
Yeah.
when a rocket takes off, it has lots
Yeah.
of parts to it,
Yeah.
right?
Ah,
As it's climbing and as it's rising, some of them parts fall off,
they fall
and when
off.
it
Yes, sir.
comes back
Yeah.
from the mission, it's
Yeah.
just one little pod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as you climb, some of those things are going, organically, you're striving for the assignment is the mission, right?
Yes, sir.
Along that mission, some things, some people they're gonna organically fall off. And that
Yes,
and that
sir.
can be tough, realistically,
Yeah. Yeah.
that can be tough, but you have to know that you have a greater purpose and a greater cause. And the
Yeah.
mission is the mission, and none of that other
Yeah.
stuff matters because the mission is the mission.
Yes, sir.
Being pleasing in his sight. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Well, what I
Yeah.
want to do, it's a couple words I want to throw out at you, or
Okay.
phrases, if you don't mind.
Yes,
And
sir.
just talk about what comes to mind or to heart, when you hear these words or phrases. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, knowing and all of the amazing things that you have going on, all of the great service that you're doing, there's there's a word or a couple words that come up for me that I think that you have to have in place to be able to do all of these things. So I think the first one for me is prioritizing.
Mm.
So when you hear the word prioritizing, prioritize, what comes to mind or to heart for you?
Uh, the key to victory.
Mm,
Um, Ed Young Jr. said that we get caught up in the data that don't matter. And I think what happens is our lives for many are not where they should be because we didn't prioritize what was important at the time. And so going back to if I can just kind of frame our conversation today, the mission is the mission. Have you prioritized what it will take for you to accomplish the mission? Because until you do that, it's just a wish, it's just a hope. Priority and prioritizing, that's the key to victory. And until you do that, man, it's almost like I think priority it separates those that are still comfortable with playing, little league football on Sunday, on Saturday, versus playing in the NFL on Sunday. Yeah.
that's good. That's good. All right. So the next word, we hit on prioritizing, and then I think the next word that comes up for me is balance.
Mm. I was reading a book, um, Winning by Tim Grover. Tim was Michael Jordan's and then
Yeah.
subsequently Kobe's
Trainer.
trainer.
Yep.
Um, and he talked about balance. Um, and oddly enough, he said, man, there's no such thing as balance. Um, he said, because you'll never be able to give 50-50 of anything. He said that when you do have an opportunity, so he's talking about his kids. And he said, when you do have an opportunity and you're only able to give your kids 20% of your time, make sure you give them 100% of that 20.
Yes, sir.
So I think for in that space, that's the first thing that came to mind. Um, So that's what I would say. Balance is hard, um, especially for those that are missional. I believe that it's worth it. Um, I think that at some point you have to identify what balance means to you. Even Jesus, he had to get some balance. There'd be some times where, even, the infamous day that Peter began to sink on the water, that was a byproduct of Jesus having some balance because Jesus sent them on and he said, man, I'll catch up with y'all. And
Mm,
so he's now walking on the water. And then that's when Peter saw him and say, Master, if that's you, tell me to come. But literally, could it have been the time that he was alone refueled him enough that he was able to walk on the thing that could have drowned him? So the moments that we don't take time to get that balance, we could be drowning in things that balance would give us the supernatural power to walk on top of.
mm. Walk on water.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the last word I want to give you, Doc, and I'm gonna pause a little bit before I give you this one, and then I'm gonna lean in and I'm gonna warn you and tell you, hey, this the good one. This the good one.
Okay.
This the good one right here. The last word I want to give you is legacy.
Wow. Legacy. Um, Man, first thing came to mind, man, is Solomon said that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Uh, so, man, when I think about legacy, I think about what are we leaving behind that the next generation will be able to pick up. And so I'm expanding it more from me and personal legacy, but I'm just thinking about legacy in general because in 2024, I think it's a travesty that we're still getting it out the mud, as the kids say. By now, it should be some baton passing. But I think because there is no true sense of succession, that it's hard for us to embrace legacy. Because when I truly realize that I won't be here always, I start now looking for some containers to pour myself into to make sure that those containers don't have to start from where I started from, but they're able to pick up where I left off. And that's true legacy. Um, that's how other communities seemingly lap us year after year, and that gap continues to widen, is because they understand it. Uh, but it's still time on the clock for us to get it too. Um, I just think it's a travesty that as we have looked at all of what was done for us, even thinking about the civil rights movement, thinking about all of those integral organizations that helped make it possible for Chip and JT to be on Zoom talking. What happened to them? What happened to those organizations? What happened to that movement? Could it be that if we really looked at legacy in 2024, we would not seemingly either be in the same space or maybe in some spaces behind where they were in 1960? But I believe that if we identify uh, what we want to leave behind, and it's not just money, man, it's um, wisdom, it's nuggets, it's keys. Um, Jay Z, DJ Khaled, made the song popular. I got the keys, but who you leaving the keys to? Because if you bear the keys with you, that means that the lock stays locked, and what's on the other side of the door, now the next generation has to try to find the keys again. So that's legacy for me.
Good. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to have an opportunity to share with the audience where they can go follow you, check you out, and show you some love with all the amazing things you have going on.
Yes, sir. I am JT Johnson. So on all social media platforms, I am JT Johnson. Um, Now, if you're on the professional platform, if you're on LinkedIn, it's Jamail Johnson. But everything else, man, is I am JT Johnson, man. And one, I get that from Jesus. He said, I am. He knew who he was, man. But I never forget, man, my pops. In high school, I was one of three students that joined 47 students across the country in Washington, D.C. To meet the president. And boy, I was nervous, Chip. Called my old man. I think he heard the shaking in my voice. Hey, Jamel, what's wrong with you? Man, we about to go meet the president, man. I'm nervous. He say, boy, you're a Johnson. Say he put on his pants one leg at a time, just like you. Square your shoulders up, look him in his eyes, shake his hand. When my daddy told me that at 16, bro, I ain't never forgot that. So I
Yeah.
am JT Johnson. And I said with my chest out, brother.
See, I see. When you said it, you set up and said it a little different too. But that's just organic. Like it's I
Yes, sir.
am. Believe
Yes, sir.
believe that.
Believe it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Well, uh, I want to tell you thank you so much for taking the time, making the time
Yes, sir.
to be on the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it. I warned them when we got on it was gonna be good. so they all right. We
Yes,
warned
sir.
them.
Yes, sir.
But just thank you so much, and I wish you continued success in your
Yeah.
journey.
I appreciate you, sir. Same to you.
Yes,
Thank you for the
sir.
opportunity to be on. And this is our first time in this space, man. But audience, y'all gonna see us together out here, man, fighting this good fight.
Let's go get it, baby.
Yes,
And
sir.
thank you, guys, for checking out this episode. We wish you continued success. See you next time. God bless. Go get it.